of the Cowboys out there in the black and orange. BYU in the black, well represented as well. There's some great seat times among this group. See all the different competitors we will have in here. 26 in total for the men's 5,000. So here, what they are trying to break. The meet record, Casey Klinger of BYU set it last year, 13:39.61. Wesley Kiptu of Iowa State has the facility record, 13:42.52.
You go back the last 5 or 10 years, we've seen so many phenomenal distance runners, especially on the men's side from this conference. And this year, certainly no exception. We have an absolutely stacked field here.
We may well see that facility record fall here tonight in Lubbock. That is not out of the question by any stretch. But John, so much talent here in the field. Who are you keeping an eye on?
I think you've got to take a look at the Oklahoma State guys. Dennis Kippen Yedic, the junior, ran a blistering 13:12 5K at Boston earlier this season. He's in bib number 6. And then it's his teammate, Brian Mousau, bib number 19. He is entered, but he has not raced yet this season. Brian Mousau, when it comes to Big 12 championships, this guy knows how to win them. 3-time cross-country champion in Big 12s. Won the indoor 3,000 last year, and then at the NCAAs, won both the indoor 5,000 and the outdoor 5,000. So a banner year for Mousau. Followed it up by a strong 4th place finish at NCAAs this season, leading the Cowboys to a national championship. But again, he has not competed yet this season, so we do not know exactly where his fitness level's at.
And Mousau, the Bowden preseason watch list. You mentioned sweeping the NCAA indoor titles in 3,000 and 5,000, that 5,000 outdoor title as well. Midwest Region Outdoor Athlete of the Year. Certainly has the resume. And there is Mousau for the Cowboys. The good news for him is he will have a lot of support in this race, and so often that can make the difference. Underway, men's 5,000 final. Mousau, the junior from Oklahoma State, wearing the 19 on his hip. His teammate, Kippen, also a junior, wearing the number 6.
And we see Mousau immediately right to the back of the field. Certainly a strategic decision by him. He's comfortable hanging back there. He knows he's got probably the strongest engine, when healthy and when fit. So he's okay staying out of everyone's way early on.
Max Davis, sophomore from BYU, leading early, a trio of Cougars. Right now, leading the way and setting the pace are the men from Provo.
And I see a familiar name in second place. That's Hedigan, not Jane, but Isaac Hedigan, her brother. The Hedigans, certainly a family with a lot of ties to BYU. Their father was an excellent athlete for BYU back in the day. Isaac, a junior for BYU, and it's kind of funny. It seems like he's had sort of the opposite trajectory of what Jane's had. Jane was a superstar in high school and has broken out onto the scene in her freshman year. Isaac, he's just progressed every single year. He's gotten better and better and better, and he had an excellent race at Boston earlier this season. 7:41 in the 3,000 meters, one of the top times in the country, and he's in second place at the moment.
Steven Mororo, the freshman from Kansas, making a move. Yeah, something about the family affair. You know that if you have one sibling, generally the eldest, whichever sport they choose to pursue, the younger ones are probably going to be following suit. That's just how it works. Particularly in a family like the Hedigans with as much talent as they have.
And I see Kippen Yedic about midway through the field. Mousau still in last place, bringing up the rear. But we mentioned, that Oklahoma State won the NCAA cross-country title. It really was a year of redemption for them last year. Because if you go back to 2024, they entered that year as huge, massive favorites to win NCAA cross-country. People were already saying that they were one of the greatest all-time teams we had ever seen at the college level. But we saw at both the Big 12 meet and the NCAA meet, they were upset by BYU, led by Casey Klinger. Some really excited racing. And so they entered 2025 with the chip on their shoulder. Dave Smith, his words, he said, "I screwed up." He said he probably overtrained them. He pointed the thumb. He said it was on him, and his athletes responded. They accepted it. They moved on. And in 2025, they did what they set out to do and won that NCAA championship. Just so much incredible depth in Stillwater.
Yeah, such a great tradition there for the Cowboys. And as you say that, Brian Mousau making his way up through the field. He started at the very back, and these last two laps, you see him right there. Moving into that top 5 is the star junior for the Cowboys.
Yeah, he used those first few laps as warm-up, and now he's right up in the mix with those BYU athletes.
Mousau currently sitting in 4th, right behind Kansas's Stephen Mororo.
Will Muirhead for Oklahoma State also up in the top 8 or 10. So we see a lot of BYU, a lot of Oklahoma State here early on.
Mousau, having moved into 3rd behind Hedigan, still leading the way is Max Davis of BYU.
And they've been running consistent 32-second 200s. Came through just a little bit over 4:20 through the mile. It's still the sophomore Max Davis in 1st, followed by Hedigan. And there's Mousau in a dangerous spot in 3rd place. He could sit here the rest of the race.
You can tell,
in perfect position.
Just biding his time. Davis, Hedigan, BYU Cougars leading the way.
And aside from 2024, when he stepped down a little bit in distance at the Big 12 meet, we really have never seen Mousau lose a true Big 12 distance race. Again, we don't know what kind of shape he's in. He has not competed this season. But 3-time cross-country champion. One of the most decorated athletes we've ever seen in Big 12 history. And we see Max Davis stepping onto the outside. Looks like he was a pace setter for BYU. That's not uncommon in the Big 12 meet, especially for a school like BYU or Oklahoma State or Iowa State. A lot of times they'll have their younger athletes pace through the early stages of a 5K.
Now the junior from Kenya, Brian Mousau, takes over. Isaac Hedigan behind him, trying to keep pace. Oklahoma State, 2 of the top 3 for the Cowboys with just under 13 laps to go.
Hedigan's also a really strong 3,000-meter steeplechaser, along with his teammate James Corrigan. But we said it earlier, that 7:41 at Boston was really eye-opening. That's a really strong time for the BYU athlete. And we see Brian Mousau has stepped off. He's laying down on the track.
Yeah, he's in lane 6. There in the corner, he has stepped off, was leading. And he is down prone on the track. One of the officials going over to take a look at the star for the Cowboys. That is a huge turn. He really is dictating the race completely, was Mousau.
That's a big surprise. Hopefully he's okay. Like we said, he's one of the best athletes in the country. But something's clearly not right with him.
No, being attended to is Mousau. And Mousau being helped to his feet just out of the frame there as Hedigan goes by.
Isaac Hedigan still setting the pace. He's opened up a little bit of a gap between them and Kippen Yedic.
So certainly a different race with Mousau not on the track. He's been assisted off and will not complete the race. So Hedigan leading the way. This is the junior from BYU, who, as you mentioned, has just gotten better as his career has progressed. And for Hedigan, he has to know this is a golden opportunity for him. Without Mousau, you said a man who really hasn't lost a distance race his time in the Big 12. This could be the opportunity Hedigan has been waiting for.
Absolutely, and they've opened up a gap between them and Kippen Yedic. Right now, it's a two-person race. Hedigan in first, and in second place, that's the freshman from Cincinnati, Nixon Kogei. He was 18th at NCAA cross country, so an excellent start to his career. But Isaac Hedigan slowly starting to open up a little bit of space.
Hedigan and Kogei, a big gulf between the top two, and Kippen Yedic from Oklahoma State. Hedigan continues to look smooth.
Isaac Hedigan with 6 laps to go. He's opened up a big lead here. Slowly pulling ahead. He's broken this field wide open after that Mousau went down.
And no Brian Mousau in the field, the star junior from Oklahoma State. Went down, was assisted off the track, has not returned. It has been all about Isaac Hedigan. He knows what an opportunity this is, and he is not going to squander it. It certainly does not appear so.
And he's keeping his foot on the gas. He looks strong. He's got just over 800 meters left. Shows no signs of slowing down. And now Kogei has fallen back to Kippen Yedic. They're battling for second place.
Hedigan being cheered on there by his teammate, Max Davis. He was the one who was the rabbit, so to speak, went out, set the pace, but is now all about Isaac Hedigan.
Kippen Yedic has moved into second place, and he has not given up sight of Hedigan.
Kippen Yedic starting to make up some meters on Hedigan. Does Hedigan have enough left in the tank? Can he hold on? You said it, Kippen Yedic has him in his sights and is starting to make up that difference.
Looked like he had about 2 or 3 seconds with 600 meters to go, but Kippen Yedic is reeling him in.
Dennis Kippen Yedic, the junior from Oklahoma State, saw his teammate Brian Mousau go down, and Kippen Yedic thinking maybe this is his opportunity as he looks to pass and will, taking over first place from Hedigan.
Let's see if Hedigan can regroup, but Kippen Yedic looks strong right now. 400 meters to go. And he has opened up a big lead right now.
Kogei now having passed Hedigan as well. Hedigan dropped back into third. And Kippen Yedic not only passing to take the first position, but he is really putting a distance between himself and Kogei in second. Kippen Yedic finding another gear. Kogei trying to stick with him. Hedigan has shot further back, almost 50 meters back of the leader, Kippen Yedic.
Kogei's trying to reel Kippen Yedic in, but Kippen Yedic looks too good right now. Less than 100 meters to go. Look at this finish.
Kogei trying to come through. Here comes Kogei. And he's going to do it. What a finish. Nixon Kogei, the freshman from Cincinnati. Incredible in the final 50 meters.
What was that close?
He looked like a sprinter.
He brought out the blades.
Kogei blowing by Kippen Yedic with 100 meters to go. Didn't look like anyone was going to catch Dennis Kippen Yedic. Nixon Kogei had other ideas.
While we wait for the website to update, we don't know exactly what those splits were, but what a close.
Nixon Kogei, the freshman, will take it 13:43. Kippen Yedic finishes second. Ruto of Iowa State finishing third, but it was all about the final 50 from Nixon Kogei of Cincinnati.
All right, we see this replay with about 50 meters to go. Kippen Yedic is tying up, and he celebrates a little bit early.
Kippen Yedic just trying to hold on. Kogei not only beat him, but he was celebrating before he got to the line. He knew he had it.
Wow, I don't know if I've ever seen something like that where both athletes are celebrating before they cross the line. One knows he's got it in the bag, and unfortunately for Kippen Yedic, he didn't know what was about to happen.
Well, without Brian Mousau in the field, the star junior from Oklahoma State left, and it was an open field. First it was Hedigan, then Kippen Yedic, but ultimately it would be Nixon Kogei. You can see Mousau here in the top. He's dropping back, does not appear to be feeling well. Now look at the bottom of the screen, and you will be able to see Mousau come off. And just right there, you can see him coming out of that inner lane, and that would be it for Brian Mousau. All we've been told from our trackside reporter Alex Glover is that it may possibly be a left leg injury. We don't know anymore. Well, if we do, we will let you know soon and if we find out more information. But it's about Nixon Kogei. Give credit where credit is due. The freshman from Cincinnati with an incredible finish to take the men's 5,000.
And we need to say again, I mean, Kippen Yedic ran 13:12 back in December. Kippen Yedic, multiple-time All-American, has never won a Big 12 title, and unfortunately for him, still is waiting on that as Kogei from Cincinnati gets him right at the line.
One event remaining. It is the distance medley relay. We'll step aside when we return. The final event of the evening is To the distance races we go. Here are the competitors. Section 1 of 1 finals. Hardware on the line. Trophies and medals at stake. Turner of Oklahoma State wearing 1. Shansi of Colorado 2. Of course, from her teammate there 3. You see the rest of them, the competitors, here in the women's 5,000 final.
And if you're a distance fan like I am, this is what you've been waiting for all day. Between the men's and women's 5,000 and the distance medley events coming up, we should see some really good distance action. Starting with this women's 5,000.
Off we go, women's 5,000 final.
Number 16 on the outside of that alley is Iska Chalengat, the freshman from Oklahoma State. She ran a blistering 15:07 at the Husky Classic earlier this year, as well as an 8:48 3,000. She's certainly one of our favorites as they take them through 36.90 through the opening 200. But right behind her, that sophomore Joy Naucott from West Virginia, multiple-time All-American cross-country in the outdoor 10K. Also the reigning Big 12 outdoor 10,000-meter champion. She's currently running in second place. As they go through the first 474 seconds. All right, and let's throw it down to Alex on the infield.
First Big 12 title in the long jump as well as a personal best. How were you able to just do that at the right time and peak at the right time in the season?
Well, first of all, yes, it's my first Big 12 championship, and how I'm able to do it, all God. And my coaches, I tweaked some minor stuff in practice and just trust it, and here I am today.
Earlier, one of the first things you said to me was how hard you've been working in practice. What are some of the biggest adjustments you've made to your jumps?
Well, for me, all season I had issues with my approach from the back, my pushes. I tweaked some of it, and yeah.
Well, you were right. Thank you so much. Congratulations, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Back.
Thank you, Alex. We're back in the 5K. Iska Chalengat still leading our field through. Now caught in second. And that's Maureen Cheritich in third. Mercyline Kirwa, the freshman from Iowa State, also in the mix up there. Ran a 15:09 at the Husky Classic. We should also point out the big athlete missing, Jane Hedigan, not entered in the 5K. We saw her earlier today in the mile. She is entered in the 3K as well, so we might get to see her tomorrow night, but the NCAA record holder not in the field tonight. They came through the opening 800 in 2:32. So just over 5-minute pace. And they've slowed it down a little bit to 39 mid. It's still Chalengat leading our field. Almost single file. But for the top couple athletes, we've already seen them run 15 10, 15, 15. So this pace, nothing crazy for them. Our top three runners all looking very comfortable and relaxed. Jalangot still taking them through. Joy Nowcott always looks so effortless and easygoing when she runs. And it looks like that's Betty Kipkor, for the freshman from Iowa State, moving on up to second place. As they've come through the opening mile at 5:13. So they've slowed it down. A very comfortable pace for most of these women so far. We could be in for a tactical, quick finish. We've got a lot of young athletes in this field. Chalangot's the freshman, Kipkor's the freshman, Nowcott's a sophomore, Cheritage from Oklahoma State a sophomore. So a field that is very young, but has already proven that they can run some really fast times in the nation. They continue to run 40-second 200s. So right at that 5:20 mile pace. No one is looking to challenge Chalangot. Everyone's happy, letting her set the pace early on. You have to think in a race like this, Nowcott is going to be a factor in the closing stages. Our defending outdoor 10,000 meter champion, she's in third place at the moment. With the freshman from Iowa State, Betty Kipkor, running strong in second place. She had a very impressive 15th place finish at the NCAA cross country meet last fall for the Cyclones. Part of a women's group at Iowa State that's certainly looking to challenge the likes of BYU and Oklahoma State. BYU on the women's side has certainly been the gold standard in distance running ever since they moved to the conference. And we see a big surge that last lap, a 33-second lap after a 40-second splits consistently. And we see that in the field. The top 5 athletes have broken apart, and it looks like the race has really truly started.
Well, John, you said it, a huge gulf between the top 5 and the rest of the field. They waited, got to just under 12 laps to go. They decided that is when they were going to start to pull away. And so far, no one else has been able to join them in that top 5.
And it was really only a matter of time before I think we saw a move like this. Those top 5 women have all run really strong times. And I think that's one of the challenges in a conference meet. A lot of times you're used to in the regular season, you go out to a place like Boston or back in my day, Iowa State, and you would run a really fast but controlled race. You'd get a really good time, but you had perfect pacing, perfect splits. And then you get in the championship racing and you see these surges. Like they just went from 40 seconds to 33 seconds. So that inconsistency can really factor into the legs as you get into the later stages of the race.
Obviously, one of the benefits of leading, you get to make those decisions by and large, but that does not come without risks.
And let's see what this split is. So back to 38 seconds. So they hammered out at 33 a couple laps ago and then have brought it back to 38 seconds. That's the kind of yo-yoing that can really have an effect. And we see a big move by Kippen from Iowa State. And we see some more fracturing in that top 5 group. Starting to see some space open up as Kippen makes a big push.
The top 3 trying to separate themselves a bit. Top 3 all freshmen. A pair of Cyclones, Kippen, Mercyline Kirwa.
Jelaine Gott now in 2nd place. She had an incredible 7th place finish at NCAAs in cross country. So she's certainly, although she's a freshman, she's already one of the best distance runners in the country. And she's got that strong cross country base behind her as well.
Well, you mentioned that yo-yo effect as Kippen looked like she wanted to turn it on, then appeared that she downshifted just a bit.
And they've settled in the last couple laps about 37 seconds. So still nothing crazy yet. Right at about 74, 75 second pace. Again, a lot of these women's have run 15-0, 15-15.
Well, we know it is simply a matter of time when that decision is made.
And they've slowed it back down nearly to 40 seconds as Kippen is leading the women through. Keep an eye on Joy Nowcott. We haven't really said her name a whole lot, but she's just been biding her time. She's not wasting any energy. She's been hanging out in 4th place.
And John, for you as a former distance runner, former cross-country star, how difficult is that to have that yo-yo effect? If you're going up to 40, you're going down to 36, you're going back and forth.
Yeah, I think that's really difficult. And I think there's things that you can do in training to improve that. You can mess around with different paces, mixing in tempo with some more speed-oriented intervals. But like I said, I think it can be tough when you're used to perfect racing in the regular season, all about getting a fast time, and then championship season comes around and it's a different beast.
The time is important, but not nearly as much as where you finish in the field. When in the final, that's really all it comes down to.
And the top 4 women all packed up. They've got 800 meters left, just under, and Kippen still leading them through.
Starting to make a move on some of the other runners in the field, starting to lap some of the other competitors. Is that top 4?
And to be honest, I think if you're one of these women, you have to realize that Hedigan's not in the field. And so this is a chance to get a Big 12 title, because you know anytime Jane's in the race, it's going to be really hard. So all these women trying to take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, take full advantage with the star freshman from BYU not in the field here in the women's 5,000 final.
And with 400 meters to go, it's still Kip Core from Iowa State, followed by Chilengat, Kirwa from Iowa State, and then Naukat in fourth.
Kip Core leading the way. The freshman from Iowa State trying to hold on.
And now you're starting to see some positions change as they head into the bell lap.
You see Kirwa, Chilengat. 200 to go. Women's 5,000 meters.
Let's see if Kip Core can hold on. She's been doing a lot of work, but she looks good with less than 100 meters to go.
Her teammate Kirwa making a move on the outside.
Look at Naukat coming on the outside. And look at that close from Mercyline Kirwa, a Big 12 champion, 15:51.
The freshman from Iowa State takes it, 15:51. Joy Naukat of West Virginia, the sophomore, finishing second, 15:52. Chilengat of Oklahoma State third, 15:52. And Kip Core just couldn't hold on. She will finish fourth. Kirwa setting a new facility record in the women's 5,000. What a finish from Mercyline.
Weeks. Back to you, Kit.
Thank you, Alex. Jenna Hutchins, senior All-American, ran the anchor leg for BYU's women's distance medley relay. They not only won it, as you heard Alex say, they set a new facility record as well. And now on to the men's distance medley relay. Last event of the day here in Lubbock, Texas. A lot of familiar faces, a lot of these teams and men we have seen earlier today. But as we said before we went to break, the conference record, the meet record, both held by Oklahoma State. They are certainly the team you would imagine to beat.
I'm also taking a look at BYU. Both Oklahoma State and BYU have put up some really strong distance medley results, especially BYU. They ran a 9:28 at the Colorado Last Chance just last week. And because of the altitude, that converts down to a 9:18, putting them right at 11th place on the NCAA list. So just inside the bubble. I see they are running Carter Cutting on the opening leg here. But you have to imagine it is probably going to be pretty tough to beat that time here in the conference championships.
Arizona right now leading the way are the Wildcats. Vincent Guachi. See Oklahoma State right there in the mix as well, as is BYU's to be expected. So again, the 1,200 meter, the first leg, the 400 the second, the 800 is the third leg, and then finally the fourth and final leg of 1,600 meters.
We see a little bit of jostling for position now. Everyone stays on their feet, but it's Oklahoma State and Houston, followed by BYU with Carter Cutting right on the outside.
Oklahoma State leading the way. Oliver Patton, Houston, Zachary Miller right behind him. And now BYU, as you said it, Carter Cutting making a move, and here come the Cougars.
Patton's not letting them get any kind of space between them, though. Hanging right behind BYU.
So Cutting is Cincinnati looking to make a move. Are the Bearcats coming up?
And look at this run by Cincinnati.
Cincinnati moving into second is Gianni Allwine. Taking over second place from Patton and Oklahoma State. First exchange. Cougars of BYU will take it first, then Cincinnati and Oklahoma State.
And it looks like we've got Braden Dahl for BYU on the 400-meter leg.
Braden Dahl for BYU, followed by Cincinnati's Camden Beatty. Beatty, a bit of separation between he.
Oh, and I see Arizona just lost the baton. That's a tough break.
An issue there for the Wildcats, but it is still BYU and Arizona. Arizona closing hard here in the second leg. Cincinnati, excuse me, there. Arizona losing the baton. There's still BYU and Cincinnati, 1 and 2.
And Braden Packard for BYU looks like he has no interest in slowing the pace down. He's got the lead right now, keeping the gas on. Not trying to let anyone back into this race.
Prince Macabello running the third leg of the DMR. The 800 for Cincinnati. Packard with the baton for BYU.
Look at Oklahoma State. That's Pradeep Senthil Kumar in third place, slowly closing that gap. But it's still BYU.
Senthil Kumar closing. Houston in the mix as well again. Sean Freeman. But still BYU, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, and now Houston.
Cincinnati has not run a distance medley yet this season, but they're putting together a really strong performance here as they sit in second place.
Prince Macabello for the Bearcats, trying to overtake BYU's Braden Packard. Coming into the final exchange, fourth and final leg. Cincinnati trying to make a push. Macabello. BYU will take the handoff first, followed by Cincinnati and Oklahoma State. 1,600 meters to go. Tavon Kitchen for BYU. Henry Dover for Oklahoma State. Seth Elking for Cincinnati.
Kitchen, the super freshman for BYU. 32nd and All-American in the fall for cross country. Has run 13:19 in the 5K out at Boston earlier this season. And he's starting to open up a little bit of a gap here for BYU.
Kitchen leading the way. Muhammad Kawa of TCU trying to get the Horned Frogs up into the mix.
Look at Cincinnati and Oklahoma State not trying to give them too much space.
And now Colorado. Justin Kipkoech for the Buffaloes. Here comes CU. And Colorado taking the lead. Kitchen dropping back into second. Coach of Colorado with the lead here in the final leg. Kitchen of BYU right behind him.
And Kitchen's had the benefit of starting with the lead, so he has not expended as much energy. Colorado has pushed really hard just to get into this position, so you have to imagine Kitchen is comfortable just letting someone else do the work for now.
BYU women won their DMR. The men trying to make it a second in as many races and take both of those titles back to Provo. But right now, Nixon Kogei of the Buffaloes having other things to say about it.
And we talk about Colorado continuing to improve year after year as a program since they've moved into the Big 12. Sean Carlson working to put Colorado back at the top of the NCAA.
Still Colorado, BYU, followed by Cincinnati, Houston, and Oklahoma State.
I have to say, it looks like Kitchen's just waiting and waiting for the right time to strike. But both athletes look really comfortable.
Certainly does not look to be in any kind of precarious situation. And here comes Kitchen on the outside, making his move on Kogei. Tavon Kitchen for BYU.
And he just shifted gears, didn't he?
Kitchen able to downshift, leaves the rest of the field in the dust. And here comes the fabulous freshman for the Cougars of BYU, Kitchen. Coming across, 1 to go. Look at Kitchen, turn it on.
Colorado still holding on to second, Cincinnati in third, but it's all Kitchen.
Kitchen leaving the rest of the field in the dust. And it's going to be BYU taking both the women's and the men's distance medley relays. An impressive anchor leg. Tavon Kitchen following Jenna Hutchins. As she did it for the women, he does for the men. 9:35.98. BYU takes first place in the men's distance medley relay. Colorado will finish second, Cincinnati in third, Oklahoma State fourth. But it's all about the Cougars. The men from Provo following the women's lead. Two very impressive races.
And I love that when we saw the move from Kitchen, he left no doubt.
Welcome back. Final event of the day, the women's distance medley relay. Glad to have you with us alongside former Iowa State standout John Downs. I'm Kit McConico, Alex Glover down trackside. Don't forget tomorrow a full day of action, finals from start to finish. Trophies, hardware, as Texas Tech looks to make it a four-peat on the men's side and repeat as the women's champion. But before we get to that, let's get to the action we have on the track. Women's DMR wrapping things up on Friday here in Lubbock.
We see BYU right now in third place. Earlier this season, they ran a blistering 10:41 at altitude in BYU. That converts down all the way to 10:33. If the NCAA counted those altitude conversions, it would be the NCAA record.
And John, I don't know that this is an issue from any of our viewers, but just in case we have somebody tuning in for the first time, what is the distance medley relay?
So it's a relay, 4 legs like any other relay. The first leg runs a 1,200-meter leg, followed by a 400-meter leg, then an 800-meter leg, and then finally a 1,600-meter leg on the anchor.
So the DMR 1,200, 400, 8, and 16 to wrap things up. The 4-leg relay. First runners here from these teams in the 1,200. Again, glad to have you with us. Happy to have your company wherever you may be joining us from on ESPN+. Hope you'll join us tomorrow as well. Let's take the opportunity to head down trackside to check in with our own Alex Glover.
Mercyline, not only did you claim the women's 5,000 5,000-meter title, but you also beat an indoor facility record. What were your emotions when you crossed the finish line?
I had fun when I was notable, even my mental, I was not, even I would win the race because the altitude was high. And this is my second indoor, and I am so first year, I do my best. Yeah.
Ranked nationally and going to nationals in just a few weeks, what are the goals that you have for yourself?
I have to go and maybe and test myself with the like of Lengole and the Grand. Maybe they will be my mentors. I follow them and have fun.
Well, congratulations, Mercyline. Thank you so much, and good luck at nationals.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Back to you, Kit.
Thank you, Alex. Again, Mercyline Kirwa, our winner of the women's 5,000. Congratulations to her. Exciting race on both the men's and women's side. Here back in the women's DMR, BYU leading early on Iowa State and Arizona State, second and third respectively.
Big move there by Taylor Rowatinsky. She's running this opening 1,200-meter leg.
Rowatinsky leading the way. Right behind her, Ashlyn Keeney of Iowa State. Kaylee Polza has the first exchange in the relay taken. Callie McEwen of BYU has the baton in her hand, followed by Iowa State's Bernie David. Still McEwen.
And right now, BYU, Oklahoma State, and Iowa State, the three premier distance programs in the Big 12, and they're 1, 2, 3 at the moment.
And no surprise, Oklahoma State looking to make a move here in the second leg of the distance medley relay. Oklahoma State trying to make something happen. But still BYU able to get the second exchange in the nick of time.
Big leg there by Oklahoma State. Brought them right behind first place. But now, as so often we see in the distance medley, that 400-meter effort sometimes can just be for naught, because now they're all bunching back up together.
That is exactly what Oklahoma State is trying to do. Is Arizona State looking to make a move on the outside? Are the Sun Devils and Cincinnati as well coming into it? Wilmus of Oklahoma State leading the way. Third leg of 4 here in the distance medley relay. Elise Wilmus.
And that was a very slow 35-second lap for our leaders through that first 200 meters of the 800 leg. That's why we saw the field all bunched back together, but now they're speeding back up again.
Here they come. Wilmus followed by Christy Solomon of BYU. Cincinnati, Iowa State, Arizona State to follow. Wilmus, as you said, speeding up. Oklahoma State, BYU, 1 and 2. Solomon right to there. Fans on their feet here in Lubbock, the beautiful Sports Performance Center at Texas Tech University. And the top two pulling away, Oklahoma State and BYU separating themselves from the rest of the field. Wilmus for Oklahoma State. And for the Cougars, Solomon. Final exchange. Oklahoma State takes it first. BYU right there, neck and neck.
And that's All-American Jenna Hutchins for BYU on the anchor leg.
Hutchins taking the lead. She got the baton right behind Oklahoma State's Aubrey O'Connell, but Hutchins making no mistake, quickly taking first place here in the final leg, the 1600 of the distance medley relay.
Hutchins, the senior for BYU, just been such a reliable scorer for Coach Taylor's squad. Part of so many national championships, Big 12 titles. And she's trying to anchor them home to yet another BYU victory in the distance medley.
Hutchins establishing a huge gap right now between she and O'Connell. That continues to grow. O'Connell just trying to keep up with her. Hutchins finding another gear.
She opened up with a 31-second split before slowing down a little bit there to 33. So a very intentional effort on her part to break this race wide open as soon as she could.
Hutchins doing just that. Hutchins, impressive leg run for the senior for the Cougars.
And we should point out, Hutchins, we said she's an All-American, but it was in the 10,000 meters.
That is a very different race.
So she's got a little bit of everything in her tool bag. Some speed, some distance. An all-around great runner for BYU.
Well, BYU, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, but that gap between the Cougars and Oklahoma State continues to grow. And that is in large part due to Jenna Hutchins, the All-American for the Cougars of BYU. Hutchins continues just looking smooth, no issues whatsoever. There's something about the relays, fans on their feet, an electric atmosphere here at Texas Tech.
And Hutchins just broke this race wide open as soon as she got the baton and hasn't looked back once since.
It was Oklahoma State who got the exchange actually before BYU, but it's all been about Hutchins, as you said, breaking it wide open.
BYU loves to win distance medley relays. It's just what they do.
Jenna Hutchins, the All-American, looking to bring home this DMR title for the Cougars. Looking to wrap up the first night of the Big 12 Indoor Track and Field Championship on a high note for the team from Provo. Hutchins, what a phenomenal anchor leg run by the senior. BYU the best seed time coming into this women's DMR, and you can certainly see why.
As they come up to the bell lap, it will be a victory lap for Jenna Hutchins and the BYU women.
Well, there it is, and you can tell Hutchins somehow finding another gear, continuing to pull ahead. Her lead almost 50 meters over Oklahoma State, currently sitting in second. West Virginia now moving into third ahead of Iowa State.
Jenna Hutchins down the home stretch. It's all BYU.
And all Jenna Hutchins. Oklahoma State made the final exchange just a few paces before the Cougars of BYU. Jenna Hutchins, the All-American and senior, sets a new facility record, does the BYU women's DMR team. 11:11:95. All credit to the anchor leg, Jenna Hutchins. What a finish she had. So BYU doing what the Cougars do best, that is winning at DMR titles. A facility record. Oklahoma State finishing second. Ultimately, Colorado would finish third. Iowa State, who is in that race for second and third, drops back to sixth, as Utah and West Virginia finishing fourth and fifth, respectively.
And to my surprise, by my notes, that's Jenna Hutchins' first ever Big 12 individual title.
That's incredible. I would have sworn that was no way that could be the case. But if that is indeed the case, very well deserved and long overdue.
Lots of third and fourth place finishes here at the Big 12 meet. Now, she is a national champion from the indoor distance medley last year, but was not a part of that team last year at the Big 12 meet.
Qualification, they will give the women the chance to rest, as we will shift our focus to the men's 60-meter hurdle finals, and then we will go back to the women. Here's the meet record set by Texas Tech's Malachi Snow, 7:52 for the Red Raider. Trey Cunningham has a facility record of 7:45 set last year. A lot of talent in this one, including the aforementioned Malachi Snow, the junior from Texas Tech, occupying lane number 5.
Malachi Snow is our defending champion here in the Big 12. On his outside, lane 6, Antoine Andrews, a 4-time runner-up in the hurdles at the Big 12 meet. But lanes 3, 4, 5, 6, all 4 of those guys are multiple-time All-American hurdlers. So keep an eye on all those lanes.
Antoine Andrews spoke with the Texas Tech coaching staff, and yesterday in the prelims he took a hurdle to the knee. No worse for wear. He was able to compete in the 60-meter dash, so should not have any issues here for Mr. Andrews, as Daniel Clark, the third Red Raider, joining his teammates here.
And like we talked about on the women's side, Texas Tech looking for major points here to kickstart the day. Between Andrews and Snow, they hope to get 18 points out of this event.
Also keep an eye on Demario Prince of Baylor, the junior. He will be in the lane 3. Jamar Marshall Jr. there of Houston in 4. Those two also looking to be a factor in this race. We'll have the 60-meter dash finals to follow. A fast and furious day. You can find that full schedule on the Big 12 website. It is all about the hardware, the individual and the team titles. Again, Texas Tech trying to get a 4-peat on the men's side, a repeat on the women's. Coach Kitley for the Red Raiders said he thinks the men have a good shot. He said the women, they're going to have a near perfect meet. We'll see if they can overtake BYU. The Cougars doing themselves a great job yesterday, giving themselves that early lead on the women's side.
And it may all come down to that women's 3,000 here at the end of the day. BYU, that 3,000 meters is a stronghold event for them. But right now, Texas Tech, lanes 5 and 6, looking to start things off.
Again, Malachi Snow in 5, Antoine Andrews in 6 for the Red Raiders. Fully expect to see some meet, possibly even some facility records broken today. The talent we have across the board from these 16 schools represented in the Big 12 Conference. Underway, men's 60-meter hurdle finals. We have an athlete going down, and that is Arizona's Parker Duskin. But no surprise, it is Snow coming across, waiting for confirmation there. And there it is, Malachi Snow, a meet record, a personal best, a facility record. I said it, we were going to see records today. We don't have to wait. There's one for Malachi Snow, 7:43 for the star for the Red Raiders.
And he just absolutely demolished the meet record, his own meet record, 7:52 he set here a year ago. Took 9/100 of a second off that time, 7:43. That 7:46 by Prince, really strong. That was a really fast race we just saw.
So Snow, a meet record, facility record, and a personal best for the junior for the Red Raiders. Impressive as well from Demario Prince of Baylor.
So we see Snow in lane 5, got off to a great start. He was clean over those hurdles. Prince gave him a great run in second place, but Snow had enough and comes away with a big-time performance.
Cincinnati, Ohio native, transfer from San Jose State, now calling Lubbock home, and the Red Raiders very happy to have him and his talents here on the Plains. A phenomenal start to championship Saturday. Already records broken. 6, Thompson from Houston in 7, and Walker of Cincinnati in lane 8.
Look for the Red Raiders in lanes 4 and 5. Tony Ann Forbes. She had a rough start there on the first attempt due to that misfire. But she enters in as our favorite with her teammate on the outside, Samori Atkins.
Forbes, the junior from Jamaica. Atkins, the junior from Bryan, Texas.
Clean start that time.
Was indeed. Here they come, flying forward. It is Forbes. Atkins following. Red Raiders, as predicted, impressing on both the men's and women's 60-meter hurdles. Tony Ann Forbes, 7.91, a personal best for the Jamaican, and it's actually McCoy of Houston finishing second. Samori Atkins of Texas Tech in third.
And Forbes just barely missing that meet record by 1/100th of a second. 7.91, a great time, and look at that emotion.
You've got to love it. Tony Ann Forbes, the junior from Jamaica, now representing Texas Tech. A phenomenal race, a new personal best. And John, you said it, the first time through, she was very slow out of the blocks, almost anticipating the false start. It never came. We had the obviously misfire on that first attempt from the starter. But the second time, no mistakes from Tony Ann Forbes.
And it was so impressive to come back after that awkward start, the first attempt. That's where you talk about mental toughness, staying in the moment. You know, you can't predict something like that. You get all amped up for your final and then have something like that happen on the first attempt, have to take 10 minutes off to recover. But Tony Ann Forbes made it work.
Did indeed, a personal best, 7.91. Casey McCoy of Houston finishing second, 8.11. And Samori Atkins of Texas Tech in third, 8.14. Well, an impressive start here, John. The meet record handled by Julian Alfred of Texas. That is also the facility record set in 2023, 6.97. And this is a race that needs no translation. It is very simple. It is straight. It is fast. Don't blink or you'll miss it.
Absolutely. Keep an eye. Lane 5, that's India Mayberry. She looked great in the prelims yesterday, 7:17. The reigning NCAA indoor 200-meter champion, one of the fastest women all time collegiately in the 200.
Rasmussen of BYU next to her in 4, and her teammate London Tucker, also of TCU, in 6. Keep an eye on those. Mayberry certainly the one to beat, the best prelim time of 7:17. Clean start, women's 60-meter dash finals, Mayberry. And it is going to be a tight race, but I believe it was indeed Mayberry. And it was 7:19 for the Fort Worth product, the local out of North Crowley High School, staying home for her collegiate career. And the Horned Frogs thrilled to have her winning the 2026 Big 12 indoor 60-meter title.
And Success Umakoro from Texas Tech gave her a great run in second place, but just like last year, it's Mayberry 1, Umakoro in 2.
Umakoro finishing second, Rasmussen of BYU third, and Olajide of Texas Tech in 4th. So more points for the Red Raiders, looking for a team title, but it's Mayberry who takes the individual, does the Horned Frog. Is continuing to impress every time she puts the spikes on.
And she's still perfect at the Big 12 championships in individual events. Won both the 60 and the 200 last year indoors. Followed it up outdoors in the 100 and 200.
And you think about that, just the time at 6:49. The only sub is 6:50. And it's his personal best, also a season's best for the senior for the Wildcats. But those are the lanes to keep an eye on, 4 and 5, Snow and Lawyer.
We should point out as well, a couple Kansas State athletes in this event. One of the rare events where we see Texas Tech and Kansas State going head-to-head. Big team implications.
Certainly the case, particularly with 2 Wildcats, but 4 Red Raiders. And not just who wins it, but who can finish there at the top and earn huge points for their team. Men's 60-meter final. Clean start. And coming through, I believe it is Snow of Texas Tech, and he may add the 60 to his 60-meter hurdle. And it is Malachi Snow, a meet record 6:46. You could tell coming off that 60-meter hurdle that he was feeling it. And he adds a 60-meter dash title to it as well for the Red Raiders. Lawyer finishing second. And Chukwuma of Kansas State in third.
Beating his old teammate Terrence Jones's meet record, 6:48. He ran 6:46 here, lowering it by 0.02 of a second. We're off to a fast start, day 2.
We are indeed. Malachi Snow setting the table. His teammate Tony Ann Forbes doing her part as well for the Texas Tech women. But this is exactly what Coach Kitley of the Red Raiders is hoping for. Antoine Andrews finishing in 4th. Another Red Raider coming up with some big points. Andrews with a season best. The facility record here as well. So you would imagine if anyone can give Hedigan a run for her money, it is Oklahoma State's Bila Jipkarui there wearing the number 4 bib.
Both Bila and Jane have both run 4:22 in the mile this year. Like I said, number 3 and number 4 all-time collegiate history.
Vienna Lunner of Kansas State wearing the 1, Brianna Wren of Utah the 2, Immaculate Jamutai of Kansas the 3, Jipkarui in 4, Hagas of Iowa State 5, Zariel Machia of BYU 6, Mandeep Sania of Oklahoma State 7, Hedigan wearing the 8, Bella Nelson from Oklahoma State the 9, and Aubrey O'Connell, her teammate, in the number 10.
I think the only thing that could make this race even better as a distance fan would be if Riley Chamberlain was entered. The collegiate record holder in the mile. She's entered in the 800 and 3,000, but not in this mile.
Underway again, Hedigan, the star freshman for the Cougars from Provo, wearing number 8. Jipkarui, number 4, the junior for Oklahoma State.
And we see Jane has outstrung the opening 100 meters. Bila giving Jason alley in the inside alley. We have seen this entire year, Jane has no fear. She's going to get after it, run as fast as she possibly can. Bila knows that, so she's going to tuck in right behind her in second place.
And coming together, it is as expected. Hedigan and Jipkarui 1 and 2. Saw Hedigan's brother Isaac last night for the BYU men. He a junior. He certainly, you would imagine, has set the stage for his sister, trying to keep up with him. But she is setting a path of her own, off to a stellar collegiate career in just her first year at BYU.
Jane just has such a long, powerful stride. I got the opportunity to see her race at the Festival of Miles last year, and I was blown away by both her physical gifts, but also her competitive spirit.
Hedigan, Jipkarui, and Utah's Wren, 1, 2, and 3.
And that was right at 65 seconds for the opening 400. So right at 4:20 pace. A very honest, very fast pace so far.
Immaculate Mousau of Kansas in the 4th position currently. Those 4 separating themselves from the rest of the field early on. Mousau making a move around Rin, now into 3rd place.
Slowed up just a little bit to 33 seconds for that 200, but still very fast. You see Jane has completely broken apart the rest of the field. There's 4 athletes giving Jason the rest of the pack off the screen, fighting for the remaining places.
Some of the best distance and mid-distance runners in the country here in the Big 12 Conference. Hedigan, just a freshman, a part of a very long line of great athletes in the mile.
And we see Immaculate Jemitai hanging on in 3rd place. Another 33 seconds for Jane.
Rin of Utah having dropped back still in 4th, but a bit of a gap between her and Jemitai there in 3rd.
2:11, very fast opening 800. Keep in mind that we do have a little bit of altitude up here in Lubbock. But so far, Bila looks good in 2nd place, but Jane is powering ahead.
Hedigan so smooth as always. Hedigan and Jipirui separating themselves. Jemitai now, Kansas dropping back into 3rd. But it's those top 2 as predicted, leading the way.
We see Bila right now comfortable letting Jane set the pace. You wonder how much both these athletes have in store. Jane has set such a ferocious pace early on.
Hedigan, who's led from the starting gun, setting the pace, not looking back. Jipirui biding her time, waiting.
Back down sub 33 seconds for that last 200, 400 meters to go. Still Jane followed by Jepkiri.
Jepkiri there, keeping up with Hedigan. Hedigan looking the same as she did on the first lap. No visible difference whatsoever.
And here it is, the bell lap. Let's see what they've got. Bila still looks good in 2nd place.
Less than 200 to go here in the women's mile final. Hedigan, Jipirui battling. Bila looking to make a move and does on the shoulder.
Look at Bila go.
Jipirui passing Hedigan, and now Hedigan trying to return the favor. Jipirui pulling away in the final straightaway.
It's all Bila down the home stretch.
And it is indeed going to be Oklahoma State's Bila Jipirui, the junior, takes the women's mile, a meet record and a facility record as well. 4:23:40 for Bila Jipirui of Oklahoma State. Hedigan finishing 2nd. 4:24:33. Immaculate Jemitai of Kansas in 3rd. Brianna Rin of Utah in 4th.
And that breaks the long-held record held by Jenny Simpson, the Colorado athlete. One of the legends of this sport. But now Bila Jepkiri has the meet record. What a race.
What a race indeed. Jepkiri just waited. Got to that final 100 meters or so, made the pass, and had enough left in the tank. Hedigan could not catch her. But a fantastic race run between Jipirui and Hedigan in the women's mile. Here are the competitors in the men's mile. Riley Kikimboy, his teammates from Oklahoma State. Carter Cutting, one to keep an eye on, certainly for BYU. Isaiah Gibbons, also of Colorado, one to keep an eye on. Zachary Miller. But the man with the best prelim time, Manuel Galindo of Iowa State. Talley of Kansas, Matheson of Colorado. To get to of Arizona, and Hansen, as appears to be possibly a false start. Maybe just an issue with the starter's pistol.
And I was going to say, it seemed like a quick gun. They didn't have him held down for very long before they fired the gun. But you were talking about it. Emmanuel Galdino, bib number 6, the senior from Iowa State. He's doing the mile and the 1,000-meter double. Best he's looked all year yesterday in the prelims. He's the defending champion in the 1,000, trying to add the mile to his resume.
Clean start this time. Cutting and Galdino right next to each other early. Certainly two to keep an eye on into this race.
And we saw Cutting last night for BYU. Opening leg in the 1,200 meters, leading BYU to the victory. But Laban Kipkemboy, bib number 2, you see him on the outside of lane 1. He's our defending champion. He had a great season last year. He hasn't run quite as fast this year, but he looked really good in the prelims yesterday.
Runners coming together. Matheson, Kipkemboy, Galdino, 1, 2, and 3 early on in the men's mile final.
And we saw the women go out very fast early on. They came through 30 seconds for that opening 200. We'll have to see if they keep that pace up.
Matheson and his teammates, TJ Hansen, Isaiah Gibbons, trying to get Colorado back to where the Buffaloes were, one of the premier distance and middle distance programs in the country for so many years.
Looked like they came through just a shade above 60 seconds, about 62 seconds for that opening quarter. So a pretty easy pace, certainly not a complete walk, but 62 seconds, not very fast for a lot of these men, several of which are sub 3:55 milers.
Ben Galdino, the best prelim time at 4:03:38. Apparently sitting back in the pack there, number 6 bib for Iowa State.
And we see that's bib number 9 from Arizona, Lowy Nagedic. He's certainly someone else to keep an eye on. Ran 3:55 at Boston earlier this season. And Kipkemboy, the champ, defending right in second place. And there's Galdino on the outside for Iowa State.
Nagedic, just a freshman for the Wildcats, leading as Galdino makes a move.
About 2:09 through that 800. So they've continued to bring the pace back. Everyone right now jostling, trying to get position. We see a little bit of bumping on the backstretch. Everyone's trying to get in the right position for the final 2 laps.
Kipkemboy moving ahead of Galdino now in second. Has his teammate Alex Riley there as well for the Cowboys.
Alex Riley, the freshman from Oklahoma State. A really impressive 3:55 at Razorback earlier this season. And he's got a great teammate in Kipkemboy to train with in Stillwater. Here's Cutting on the outside down the backstretch, making a big move.
Cutting trying to come around and get it, still leading the way. Cutting trying to come all the way around. Kipkemboy trying to make himself big.
You always have to try to figure out whether you're comfortable being boxed in on the inside or whether you want to run that extra distance on the outside. Our top 4 almost in single file. Here's Galdino out to lane 2 on the backstretch.
Kipkemboy still leading Ngedic there. Galdino now trying to make a move and goes around Kipkemboy. Can he pass Ngedic as well?
Coming up on the bell lap, everyone's still in this race.
Here comes Carter Cutting taking the lead. Right on the shoulder of Ngedic. Ngedic not letting BYU's Cutting pass him. Still Ngedic, Cutting, and Galdino.
It's Cutting. Here comes Galdino.
Galdino on the outside trying to make a move. Cutting trying to hold on. Final straightaway. Cutting turns it on, and it is going to be Carter Cutting of BYU who takes the men's mile. Carter Cutting, very well executed there. Takes it 4:05:23. Galdino finishing second, 4:05:63. And Isaiah Gibbons of Colorado coming in third, 4:05:90.
Great race by Cutting. Really good tactics. It would have been easy to get boxed in, but Cutting looked like he was always in the right spot, ready to strike. And when he saw his opportunity on that last lap, he had enough left and was able to take it.
We talked about the success last night of BYU in the DMR and the distance races. Cutting does his part, not only winning, but adding some big team points as well for the men. And there are the official numbers. 4:05:23 for Carter Cutting, taking the men's mile. Calvino in second and Gibbons in third.
And I had about a 26-second final lap for Cutting. Just an incredible finish to take home the Big 12 title.
So with the victory in the mile, here is how the meet record held by former Texas Longhorn Courtney Okolo, set in 2015, a minute 18:24. LSU's Michaela Rose has the facility record. The assignments here for the first section: Macy Taylor of BYU, Delaney Brinker of Kansas State, Taiwo Kodoro of Arizona State, and Michaela Clark of Iowa State.
I'm looking at lane number 2. That's Delaney Brinker, the freshman out of Kansas State. For my hometown, St. Louis, Missouri, she looked good in the prelims yesterday, 119. But in lane 4, that's Michaela Clark, the senior from Iowa State. Has been such a consistent scorer for the Cyclones. Has a strong 2:02.800 from earlier this season.
Brinker, the best prelim time, a minute 19:25, but all four here in the section, all at 1:19. With very little separating these four. Brinker currently leading the way.
Brinker made a big move down through the curve, and Michaela Clark right there in second place.
Clark in second. Taylor, BYU, looking to move up through the field. But still Brinker and Clark, 1 and 2.
Here comes Clark making a move on the outside.
Michaela Clark, senior from Iowa State.
Look at Arizona State.
Kodoro for the Sun Devils, but it is going to be Clark of Iowa State. Michaela Clark who takes it. Kodoro from Arizona State finishing second. Brinker drops back to third. A great kick and finish from Michaela Clark. A new personal best at a minute 18:37.
A really nice opening time for that first heat. As we look to the second heat, Avery Pearson actually broke the meet record yesterday in the prelims. Ran 1:17.92. So a little bit faster yesterday, but that time goes out the window and all comes down to what the athletes in Section 2 can do.
Personal best from Clark, Kodoro, and Brinker in the first section. Clark just hoping that her time good enough. Underway here, Vanessa Massera of Kansas State, Avery Pearson of Colorado, Brooke Beck of Oklahoma State, and Kaylin Goodman also from Oklahoma State.
And so now if you're Avery Pearson, lane number 2 you saw what the time to beat is. That 1:18.37, if she can repeat what she did yesterday, she's got a Big 12 title.
Pearson, the best qualifying time in the prelims of 1:17.92 for the sophomore from Colorado.
Should point out lane number 1, that's Vanessa Mercera, the multi-athlete standout from the Caribbean island Curacao. Really strong in these middle distance events, or long sprints, I guess.
Well, Pearson leading the way here in the second final section of the women's 600 final. Now looking to make a move back. But still Pearson able to hold her off, at least for the time being.
Pearson looks really good. Look at Miss Mercera on the outside trying to make a move.
Final straightaway, Mercera trying to make a move. Pearson holding on back. And it is indeed going to be Avery Pearson who takes now the time. We will see 1:17.48 Beck, 1:17.84, and Mercera finishing third. Avery Pearson, a new meet record for the sophomore from Colorado, and she will be your women's 600-yard run champion.
And she took another half-second off her own record that she set just a day before, 1:17.48. It's hard to quantify some of these times because the 600-yard is such a unique distance, but we know Avery Pearson, a phenomenal middle distance athlete for the Buffaloes. 2 flat in the 800 earlier this season, one of the top times in the country. And she's got her first individual Big 12 title.
There's confirmation, the meet record from Pearson, and Beck finishing second with the personal best, and Mercera in third for the women's 600.
with strength training, I do that. I can recover really quick and bounce back. And then in the final, trusting my competitor instincts to really try to win the race is the main thing in a final. Just go and win a race. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Congratulations indeed, Avery Pearson, the Saskatchewan native, the winner of the women's 600. As we turn our sights to section 1 of 2 here in the men's 600 final. Dominic Biles of TCU, the sophomore, leading the way. Right behind him, KU's Prophet Bazdin Jr.
Look at Eamon from Baylor on the inside. He's trying to pass on the inside in lane 1. Oh, he tried, but he couldn't quite get there.
Biles did a great job coming inside. Cut it off. His opponent from Baylor, still Biles.
Here comes Baylor.
Eamon Malagway from Baylor coming across. And it is indeed going to be the freshman from the Bears taking the first section. 109.72. And McQueen will have to see if that time will hold with the second section coming up next.
Down the backstretch, he was trying to pass on the inside in lane 1. A little bit of space had opened up, but wasn't able to quite get there by the time the curve came. But he had enough left to pass down the home stretch to take section 1.
And here are the competitors in our second final section of the men's 600. Heath Grant of Kansas State, Kaiser Dunbar of Texas Tech, his teammate George Garcia, also for the Red Raiders, and Jonah Himuli from BYU.
Look at lane 2, the freshman from Texas Tech, Kaiser Dunbar. He had the fastest time in the prelims, 68 seconds on his outside. The senior from Texas Tech, his teammate, had the second fastest time.
The Red Raiders certainly prohibitive favorites in this one. Dunbar and Garcia.
Once again, though, we've got a Kansas State athlete in this event as well, on top of those Texas Tech guys.
And don't sleep on Jonah Himuli of BYU there in the blue for the Cougars. Time to beat, 109.72, set by Eamon Malagway of Baylor. But it is Dunbar and Garcia 1 and 2 right now. Himuli in third.
Dunbar still looking good, but on his outside, his teammate Garcia, the senior, right on his shoulder as they come around the final turn.
Dunbar, Garcia 1 and 2. It's going to be a battle between the Red Raiders. Here comes Garcia, the senior, trying to beat his teammate. A photo finish, and I believe it is Garcia. And it is 68-14. Kaiser Dunbar 68-20, a personal best for El Paso's George Garcia. The former Eastwood Trooper takes it. The men's 600 here on his home track. Take another look. A stellar finish between a pair of Red Raiders.
Garcia had let Dunbar set the pace early on in the race. And so by the time the home stretch came around, Garcia had just a little bit left in the tank. Heath Grant, the freshman from Kansas State, with a big move to finish third.
Garcia, Dunbar, 1 and 2. Big team points for the Texas Tech men. Grant from Kansas State finishing third. Himuli from BYU in fourth. A personal best for Jonah Himuli, 68-90. Clean start, first section of 2 in the women's 400-meter dash finals.
Pretty even so far through the first 200 meters. Here comes Awanya getting that pole position.
2 laps on this 200-meter banked indoor track. Awanya leading the way. James of Iowa State in second.
Look at UCF coming on the outside here.
Newberry trying to make a move into the final straightaway. Newberry for the Knights. And it is Jasmine Newberry for UCF. 52-53. Awanya finishing second and James in third.
.52.53 for Newberry. Very strong opening time for the woman in the first section.
A new personal best for UCF's Jasmine Newberry. And we'll see if that is good enough with the second section incoming. But first, head back down trackside to check in with Alex.
Malachi, personal best and meet record in the 60-meter hurdles and the 60 meters. Other than everything, what was going right for you today?
I prayed today. I pray every day, but I've been growing my relationship with God, so just trusting God.
What goals do you have for yourself in nationals?
Just to keep executing and enjoy the moment.
Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Malachi Snow set the standard very early on for the Red Raiders. Started in the 60-meter hurdles, followed it up in the 60-meter dash, doubling up. Not only 2 medals around his neck, but crucial team points for Texas Tech men's title hopes. Second section in the women's 400, Barber of BYU, Fagan of Cincinnati, Joseph of Iowa State, and Oblad of BYU. Trying to beat the time of Jasmine Newberry in the first section of 52.53.
And look at lane 5. That's Rachel Joseph, the senior from Iowa State. She has the top 18 indoor and outdoor 400-meter times in school history, and she's broken the Iowa State school record a combined 16 times throughout her career.
That is an astounding stat.
She's also our defending champion in the Big 12. Won both the indoor and the outdoor 400. Multiple-time All-American for Iowa State.
So again, Joseph, the one to keep an eye on, the senior in lane 5.
On her outside lane 6, that's Sammy Oblad. She actually has a little bit faster PR than Rachel, but Joseph has been able to beat her the last several Big 12 meets.
Newberry of UCF, 52.53. That is the mark to beat. Second and final section here in the women's 400 finals.
And we see Joseph making up that stagger on Oblad. Looks like it's going to be Joseph getting that pole position with a lap to go.
And Joseph, Oblad, Fagan, 1, 2, and 3.
Oblad looks good right in second place coming on the outside.
Here comes Sammy Oblad. Joseph trying to hold her off. Joseph pulling away into the final straightaway. And Rachel Joseph coming across, nipping Sammy Oblad, and now we will see if the time is enough. And it is 51-36 for Rachel Joseph of Iowa State. And that is going to be good enough to take the women's 400-meter dash final and soon to have a gold medal around her neck.
A great race there by Joseph. You saw Sammy Oblad on the backstretch try to make a move. Rachel was able to respond, hold her off. Sammy wasn't able to get around her by the time they entered into the curve, and that was enough for Rachel to be able to hold on.
John, you called it. The last few matchups between those two have gone to Rachel Joseph, as does this one today. Oblad a personal best, 51-48, but not good enough to beat Rachel Joseph. Your 2026 women's 400-meter indoor champion here in the Big 12. Mayberry, who won the first section, will finish third with a personal best of 52.53. Take the opportunity to check in back to the triple jump pit now for the women. Texas Tech doing their part in the women's triple jump as Texas Tech currently in first, second, and fourth place. Right now, Kansas State occupying third. The women's triple jump on the podium. Congratulations. As we said, Texas Tech getting more points. You see the first and second place finishers for the Red Raiders adding to their lead with just one event on the women's side remaining to be scored. The men getting into the blocks. Clean start, section 1 of 2, men's 400-meter dash final.
Oh, and that's Boyce pulling up.
And Boyce of Texas Tech pulls up. So right now it's going to be a race on the outside between East and Brian Ziniga.
A big loss for the Red Raiders.
Boyce still down on the track, trying to get him out of the way. The yellow, the caution flag is up. East leading. Final straightaway, East trying to hold on, and he will. So Trey East, 54, excuse me, 54, a personal best for the Houston Cougar. Brian Ziniga finishing second, the star freshman from the Red Raiders.
And that's a tough loss for Deshaun Boyce. Like we said, he was our defending champion in the outdoor 400. And because of that DNF, he will score 0 points for the Red Raiders.
The personal best from the top. Rachel Joseph, the winner there, the women's 400. As we take a look at the lane assignments, Matlock, Kendrick, Davis, and Uter.
And if you're Texas Tech, you want Shamar Uter out in lane 6 to come up big for you. You need big points for Texas Tech after that tough loss in section 1.
And Boyce did not finish. Ziniga finished second. It was Trey East the third who won the first section, 45-54 for Houston. Jaden Davis of Arizona State leading currently. Uter right there with him. Kendrick of TCU sitting in third, and Matlock of Kansas State.
And here comes Uter down the home stretch trying to dig in.
And it is going to be Arizona State's Jaden Davis who takes it. 45-31, a season's best for the Sun Devil. And that is the best time, and he will take with it the men's 400-meter dash crown. Anthony East finishing second. Shamar Uter in third. His teammate Brian Ziniga in fourth.
And Jaden Davis has had an outstanding weekend for himself. He ran 45-35 yesterday, one of the top 5 times in the NCAA this season. The fastest prelim, and then he improves it by 0.04 of a second to run 45-31. Putting himself in great position as he looks ahead to NCAAs.
So Davis, the winner of the men's 400. East finishing second, and a pair of Red Raiders, Uter and Ziniga, third. Off we go. Women's 1,000-meter run. The only section here in the final.
And on the outside alley, that's Gonzalez, the junior from TCU. He likes to get out in front, set the pace early on. Bila right now comfortable, hanging back just a little bit on that outside alley.
It is Gonzalez. You see Bila there in the orange of Oklahoma State, now taking the lead, setting the tone. Lexi Goff of BYU. They're very much in the mix as well. Caleb Martin, the junior from Utah, moving up.
And it looks like they've slowed down the second 200. They've packed up. Bila's sitting in second place right on the rail.
Kyla Martin leading the way. Bila tucked in. Appears to be content. Rodriguez, Gonzalez there. Chachi Gonzalez of TCU currently sitting in second.
And after going out in 31 seconds, they followed it up with that 35-second 200. So 66, 67 seconds for that opening 400. But it looks like they're starting to pick up the pace again. Bila's still hanging out in third. A little bit of a gap opening up.
Martin, Gonzalez, Shapkuri, Pozdiba there as well as Lily Maher. Maher making a move for Texas Tech. We talked about the Oklahoma State runners in this event. Maher, she can go a long way into helping Texas Tech.
Martin for Utah looking good. So's Gonzalez as they come up to the bell lap. But Bila is sitting there in third place, looking like he's about to strike.
Less than 200 meters remaining. Martin and Gonzalez right there together. Bila.
Here goes Bila.
On the outside. Tim Curry passing Martin and now really downshifting. It was Curry into the final straightaway, and she is going to take it. Pulling away from the rest of the field in the 1,000. Jeb Curry, a meet facility and a personal best, 2:43.48 for the junior from Oklahoma State.
And like we saw, she reset her own meet record, so just a fantastic day for Bila. She's in really good shape as she looks on to nationals.
Kyla Martin of Utah finishing second. Elise Wilmus from Oklahoma State third. Mather from Texas Tech, a personal best, 2:45.99, finishes fourth. Welcome back. The men's 1,000-meter final. We continue our live coverage of the 2026 Big 12 Indoor Track and Field Championships. Certainly some talent. Bryson Nielsen, the freshman from Arizona, wearing the number 8. Emmanuel Galvino, the senior from Iowa State, there wearing the number 6, leading the way early on.
And Galdino, we saw him earlier today, second in the mile behind Carter Cutting from BYU. He has our top time in the prelim, and he's the defending champion in this event, winning the 2025 Indoor 1000.
Prince Macabello there of Cincinnati leading the way, followed by Galdino and Costello of Colorado.
I'm also looking at bid number 3 from Kansas. That's Yoi Higuchi moving on the outside. He looked really good right behind Galdino yesterday, and he's a 3:56 miler as well.
Rio Higuchi looking to make a move on the outside. Here comes Higuchi on cue. Mark Bello still leading for the Bearcats. Higuchi having moved into second and moving up through the field. Mohamed Kowa, the senior from TCU.
That's McBello taking us out in first right now. Multiple-time Division II All-American. The senior for Cincinnati trying to take home a Big 12 title.
David Mora, the sophomore from Oklahoma State, now making a move on the outside, looking to pass Galdino. Still McBello and Higuchi 1 and 2. Here comes Mora.
Oh, and look at this move by Galdino on the inside as they hit the bell lap.
But it's David Mora, the sophomore from Oklahoma State, taking the lead.
Look at Galdino in second. He looks good. So does Higuchi from Kansas in third.
Galdino right on the shoulder. Galdino hand in the air coming around the corner.
Look at Arizona.
Trying to find a way through Nielsen, but it's going to be Galdino. And he knew it. He came around that final corner, put his hand in the air. And Emmanuel Galdino will take it. 2:21.95. Nielsen, the talented freshman from Arizona, finishing second, and Higuchi of Kansas in third.
When you celebrate that early, you've got to take home the gold.
Yeah, that's akin to putting the football out with about 20 yards before you hit the end zone. You better get to pay dirt, or there's going to be some words from the coaching staff. But Galdino, he knew he had it in him, and he did indeed.
Yeah, with about 50 meters left, he put his hand up. I don't think I've ever seen a celebration that early.
Well, that brought the crowd to their feet. And Galdino taking the men's 1,000. So you see Galdino coming around the corner. There it is.
I don't think I've ever seen a celebration before you're even leading the race. He was celebrating second place.
He was looking at Nielsen the whole way. Mora looking to make a move, and you see some of the jostling inside.
And here was that gutsy move by Galdino right on the inside.
Nearly.
Oh, and he took a step inside.
Did indeed.
A couple steps on the inside of the rail.
Yeah, a few over the rail. I think our officials may take another look at that one.
So we'll have to take a look here. Every situation is handled on a case-by-case basis. I'm sure there's going to be some protests there, but we'll have to see what the officials come out with.
Yeah, they will see if Galdino, they think, was forced off the track, or if that was a decision he made on his own. You saw him take a few steps over the rail and off the track, trying to pass on the inside. As it stands, Galdino, your men's 1,000-meter champion. Bryson Nielsen of Arizona, second.
Title, something that can never be taken away. And on the line right now is the women's Big 12 800-meter title.
Her teammate Tessa Buswell next to her wearing the 5. Michaela Clark of Iowa State, the senior, in the 7. So some familiar faces here in the women's 800.
Also looking at lane 7, the senior from Iowa State, Michaela Clark. 2:02, the fastest time in the prelims. And we see Clark a step on the outside alley right in front of Chamberlain.
And Clark out leading the way. Chamberlain right there with her. Women's 800-meter final.
Riley's got a 2:01 personal best in the 800. 14:58 in the 5,000, 8:43 in the 3,000. A monster fourth place finish at NCAA cross country in the fall. Just a do-everything superstar for BYU.
And Clark leading the way. Chamberlain there, as is Aaliyah Moore of Kansas. Tightly bunched, that lead pack.
We see Clark right on the outside of lane 2, or outside of lane 1 in second place. .63 high for that opening 400. Very slow for these women. It's a tactical race. The top 6 all bunched up. We're just waiting. You expect to see Riley to make a move at any moment.
Clark, Chamberlain, both of Oklahoma State, Buswell there as well for BYU.
I'm a little surprised Riley hasn't gone yet as they come up to the bell lap. He's in great position. But Clark still has the inside rail.
Chamberlain taking a look over her shoulder. 200 meters remaining. Chamberlain looking to make a move on Clark. Here comes Chamberlain.
And here comes Riley Chamberlain down the backstretch. And there's her teammate in second.
Riley Chamberlain pulling away. Buswell in second. A pair of Cougars leading the way.
And a late push by Michaela Clark.
Clark on the outside, but it's going to be Riley Chamberlain coming across, waiting for confirmation. Buswell there as well. So apparently some timing issues down on the track. Still waiting for the confirmation. Chamberlain and Buswell appeared to finish 1 and 2. Clark trying to get into the mix there as well.
Riley waited to that final lap. About 100 or 150 meters to go. But when she made her move, she never looked back. And we wait to see. It looks like Michaela Clark
finishes second. Here's the confirmation. It's going to be Chamberlain, 2:06.21, and Clark came in second at 2:06.97. Buswell into third at 2:06.97. The identical time with Clark.
And you have to go all the way out to 3 digits. 3/1000th of a second separating Clark and Buswell for second and third. A photo finish for second, but Riley Chamberlain gets the victory.
Texas Tech, Jacob Robinson of BYU, son of Iowa State or BYU, Synthel Kumar of Oklahoma State, Bambles of Kansas State, Mutai of Texas Tech, and Hafez Mahdi of Oklahoma State round out the field.
I think this men's 800 race is completely wide open. It could be anyone's race. A lot of 147, 148 guys in this field. As they get off, Stephen Mutai comes in with our top time in the Big 12, 147 at Boston. He won Heat 2 yesterday, slow 151. Hafez Mahdi, in wearing bib number 8, had the fastest time in the prelims, 147.
Those two to keep an eye on. Mutai, the freshman from Texas Tech, number 7. And there is Hafez Mahdi, the senior from Oklahoma State, wearing number 8.
And we see Sona, the freshman from Iowa State, leading the field so far. But here comes Oklahoma State trying to get around them. A little bit of jostling as they go around the curve.
Man, you saw right there, Mahdi, a little bit of contact with Sana. Seen a bit of contact in some of our races earlier today.
52 high for that opening 400. As we see Sona's looking around trying to gauge where his competitors are.
Mahdi and Mutai right there with him, as is Marcus Brothian of Texas Tech.
We see a couple Texas Tech athletes right there in 3 and 4. Kansas State right behind them. Big team implications.
Are indeed. Oscar Bambles of Kansas State representing the Wildcats.
And Sona is refusing to give up first place at the moment. He's trying to hold off Mahdi of Oklahoma State. And he's got him down the back stretch. Held him off as they come down to the home stretch.
Mutai trying to make a move. Here comes Stephen Mutai of Texas Tech on the outside. Is it going to be enough? Mutai in front of the home fans, leans across. And I believe that is going to be enough. We will have to check. What a race there. And Stephen Mutai, the freshman for the Red Raiders, is going to take it 148.23.
What a finish. We saw Sona from Iowa State and Mahdi from Oklahoma State battling, jostling back and forth. But Mutai from Texas Tech was able to just hang back, conserve energy. And he saved it all for that final home stretch.
Sona finishing second, a personal best at 148.30. Mahdi at 148.39. His teammate Synthel Kumar in 4th. Clean start, section 1 of 2, women's 200. Rasmussen and Olajide on the outside. Rasmussen in the blue, Olajide in the black.
BYU Texas Tech fighting for that team title in the women's. And look at Rasmussen.
Rasmussen pulling ahead. Rasmussen enough left in the tank. She will take the section 22.91, a new personal best for the BYU Cougar. Olajai finishing second, 23.14. Napoleon of UCF in third, and Epps of Cincinnati in fourth. Rasmussen, a personal best. Olajai as well, but Rasmussen, a fantastic sub-23. And now she will see if that holds with the second section coming up here in the finals. No representatives for BYU. They are a pair of Red Raiders trying to beat Rasmussen's time in section number 2. So Anita Frifa, the junior from Texas Tech, will be in 3. Her teammate Success Makoro in 4. Indy Mayberry, the star from TCU, in 5. And Chelsea Amoa from Utah rounds out the field in lane 6.
And all eyes on lane 5, Mayberry for TCU. We saw her win the 60 meters earlier today. This 200, she considers it her signature event. Number 4 all-time NCAA history indoors. And we'll see what she's got for us right now.
22.91, the time to beat. Underway, second and final section here in the women's 200 final.
And Mayberry's already looking to close the gap, close the stagger. She's way out in front.
Here comes Mayberry, India Mayberry from TCU, coming around and leaving the rest of the field behind. Amoa is going to finish second, but it's all about India Mayberry. The time, 22.50 flat. 22.50 Amoa finishing 22.84, a season's best for the sophomore for the Horned Frogs.
And that ties for the number 1 time in the NCAA this year. 22.50 India Mayberry, great shape heading into NCAAs, and she sweeps both the 60 and the 200 yet again at the Big 12s.
The local product out of North Crowley High School in Fort Worth, a powerhouse in Texas high school sports. She didn't have to go far for her collegiate career, and the Horned Frogs very happy that she elected to stay there. It's Dominic Harper, the freshman from Houston, wearing the number 4. Jonathan Crawford, senior from Texas Tech, next to him in 3. Mason Lawyer, one to keep an eye on, the senior from Arizona, in 5. And Austin Diggs, also a great opportunity here for the sophomore from Baylor, in 6.
And every man in both Section 1 and Section 2 looking for their first individual Big 12 title. Wide open event.
It is indeed. We're going to have a new champion here in the men's 200. Lawyer from Arizona, the best prelim time, 20.61. Diggs of Baylor not far behind him at 27.2.
And there's a little bit of a stumble out of the blocks from Mason Lawyer, but he's coming on strong down the home stretch.
Here's Mason Lawyer in the straightaway. The Arizona Wildcat is going to take the first section. Lawyer wins it 20.58. Harper of Houston finishing second at 20.79. A new PB for Mason Lawyer. The Lawyer will simply have to wait and see if that 20.58 is good enough with the second section coming up.
And that is a great time from Lawyer, especially considering the start that he got. We see a replay coming up. Mason Lawyer out in lane 5. On the outside as the gun goes off. You see a little bit of a hiccup as he gets going, but he's able to recover. And he gets up to top speed so quickly.
Yeah, full credit, Lawyer did not let him affect him. He's able to recover quickly and take his section. 20.58 again, the personal best in his winning time, as we now turn our sights to section 2 here in the finals. We'll see if any of these men can best that time. Cameron Neal there of Texas Tech, the junior, he's going to be wearing the 6. Bailey Hashmi, the freshman from Baylor, in 3. His teammate Lorenz Colbert, the senior, in 4. Amir Thompson, sophomore from Arizona State, in 5. And Neal in 6 for the Red Raiders.
We saw a look at Cameron Neal out in lane 6. Texas Tech had a great 20:53 performance in the prelim. But there's Amir Thompson, lane 5. He came in with the top time in the conference, and he had a monster 20:50 prelim PB yesterday in the prelims.
And I can guarantee you Thompson of Arizona State does not want a rival Wildcat from Arizona to take this event. That's just a little extra added incentive in that battle between those two eternal foes in Arizona.
Thompson 5, Neal in 6. The ones to watch.
Clean start. Neal on the outside in the black. Thompson next to him in the yellow. Then a pair of Bears in the green and gold.
And we see Thompson coming on as they come into the home stretch.
Thompson.
Look at Neal.
Able to hold off Neal. Thompson a look, and I think that's going to be good enough. Thompson indeed 20:40. A personal best. Amir Thompson winning the men's 200. Neal finishing second, 20:47. Mason Lawyer dropping back to third with his 20:58.
And Amir Thompson came into this weekend with a 20:62 personal best. He just dropped 0.2 of a second between yesterday and today. And he comes away with the Big 12 title.
Well, you talk about speed. The last turn, Thompson, it was neck and neck between he and Neal, and then he just let it fly.
He came off that turn strong. Neal was giving chase, but Thompson had just enough to hold him off.
Thompson takes it. Personal best for all the top 3 finishers, but Amir Thompson is your champion. Amir Thompson, Cameron Neal finishing second. Mason Lawyer in third. But as was the case for the women, if some of these teams are going to dethrone Texas Tech and keep the Red Raiders from winning 4 in a row on the men's side, this is a golden opportunity, particularly for Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State trying to get a lot of points here in this event. But right now it looks like Kansas State is in the best position if anyone's going to catch Texas Tech on the men's side.
Yeah, the bad news for Kansas State.
I suspect both men's and women's team titles will come down to that 4x4.
I think you're exactly right. And that is how we would love to wrap things up. Final event, titles on the line. We'll see if that is indeed the case. It certainly will be for the women. Underway here, section 1 of 2 of the men's 3,000.
And we see now officially Galdino from Iowa State is listed as a DNS. So is Mousau, David Mora, Tanner Talley of Kansas. Nixon Kogei, the freshman phenom from Cincinnati that we saw last night, also DNS. And that's not uncommon in this 3,000 meters. A lot of coaches will enter all the athletes they think they might enter, as we see an Arizona athlete pull up. But a lot of coaches like to have the flexibility to enter who they want to race and then play it by ear depending how the weekend goes.
Yeah, I can certainly understand that, have the ability to have those. Alex Riley right now of Oklahoma State, a talented freshman, leading the way. Erdy Rauba of Colorado there in the mix as well. Samuel Thrumble, another talented freshman from Kansas.
We say that this first section is the slow heat, and that is true, but Alex Riley, the freshman, has run 3:55 in the mile. That's certainly not slow.
Not by any stretch.
And a couple years ago, certainly we would look at a 3:55 mile as a standout performance, and now it's one of many 3:55 miles that we see.
John, you and I spoke about that last night during the prelims and just how much these times have dropped in the last decade. It's astounding. If you look at times from 8, 10, 12 years ago to now, it's seemingly night and day.
Yeah, the improvement has been off the charts. Every year you see more and more sub-4-minute miles on the men's side. That's an easy barometer. A lot of people are familiar with that sub-4-minute mile. And it used to be if you ran sub-4, you were almost guaranteed a spot in NCAAs. Now you have to be well under 3:55 to have a crack at it.
It's incredible, and not just the fact that you have to be under 3:55, but the fact that how quickly that has happened.
And in second place, that's the Colorado senior Grady Raba, a 4:03 miler, 13:39 in the 5K. A really strong athlete. And here comes Kemboy. For Oklahoma State, he's certainly looking for a little bit of redemption. He finished 9th place in the mile earlier today.
His teammate Alex Riley is still leading. Kemboy there as well. Samuel Trimble of Kansas in the mix, and Reagan Kippen, a freshman from KU there. And the Jayhawks getting some runners into that lead group.
And a really honest pace being set so far by Riley, 32 seconds. 2:08 through the 800, and Riley steps off. He's clearly a pacer, trying to string out the pace for his teammate Kip Kemboy.
So the freshman Alex Riley doing his job, but it's a pair of Jayhawks leading the way. Reagan Kippen wearing the number 13, and right behind him his teammate Steven Maroro.
A pair of freshmen for Kansas. Not a lot of results on them. But, of course, that's what we said a couple years ago about Brian Mousau.
And this is an opportunity here in the conference championship for some of these freshmen, these new faces, to really make an impact. As you said, you may not know exactly who they are, but this could be the coming out party that everyone in conference knows, and these are men to watch out for in the future.
Exactly. It's a great developmental opportunity for young athletes. You get a taste of the conference experience. One of the few events in the entire calendar year, really, where team results matter.
Yeah, right you are. Obviously, you want to win each and every individual event you're entered in, but you understand the importance of contributing to the team as well. And we've seen that in the previous events. We saw that in the women's race in the 3,000 at BYU. Obviously, Hedigan winning it, but having 4 of the top 7 finishers.
Yep. And Maroro continuing to open up a gap here on the rest of the field. Although, as I say that, the Arizona guys looking to reel him back in.
And Maroro looks over his shoulder, looking for his teammate, Kippen. He is in no place to be seen. As a pair of Wildcats behind him. Max Davis of of BYU there as well.
Max Davis for BYU, the sophomore, part of that rebuilding core for the Cougars in cross country. Certainly Ed Eyestone is used to elite results in the fall in the cross country meet. Last year it was Oklahoma State's year. The year before that, BYU got him in a major upset. And now I think you see a new generation of BYU athletes on the men's side stepping up.
Oklahoma State looking to bring their trio into the mix. Morrow is still leading. Evan Stanui, the freshman from Arizona, right behind him. Kip Kemboy from Oklahoma State trying to weave his way through.
A nice lead pack here in this first section of the men's 3,000. We've got 600 meters remaining, about 6:34.
Yedic, freshman from Arizona, leading his classmate Evan Stanui right there as well. Davis trying to stay in the mix. A pair of Cowboys and a pair of Wildcats there in the top 5 joining him. Now Davis on cue making a move.
Big move by Davis. I was just about to say Lowy Nagedic. We were talking about 355 milers. He's another one. It's just crazy to see so many fast guys here in this first section of the men's 3,000. And speaking of fast guys, that's Adisu Gawadi, the All-American for Oklahoma State. Came up massive with the 12th place finish at NCAA's last fall. He's a guy that when he's healthy and he's in shape, he's a huge piece of Dave Smith's Oklahoma State team.
Gawadi certainly appears to be healthy here, trying to hold on. Kip Kemboy, his teammate behind him, as is Evan Stanui of Arizona. Gawadi trying to hold on. A race between he and Tanui.
Look at this finish.
Here comes Evans Tanui on the outside for Arizona. Tanui coming through in the final 20 meters, and he's going to take this section. Evans Tanui, the freshman from the Wildcats, 8:06.93. Wadia finishing second, and then Yedic in third, 8:08.59. Davis finishing in fourth.
What a finish and what a nice appetizer. 8:06, that's a solid time. It means that the guys in section 2 are not going to be able to sit and kick.
16. Off we go. Second final section of the men's 3,000.
And we counted the All-Americans in the women's race. On the men's side, I count 8 All-Americans. Again, with 8 all Big 12 athletes, it's kind of a wash.
16 in the field, half of those All-Americans.
And I suspect probably a few future All-Americans too, like Kitchen.
I don't think you're going to find any argument here.
Although I should say Kitchen already an All-American, 32nd place at NCAA cross country this fall, so he's not wasting any time getting that All-American honors.
BYU taking the lead. Thompson, Hedigan for the Cougars.
And Thompson, the senior for BYU, so experienced, so established, multiple-time All-American. He always comes through in these events. Was a big part of that NCAA championship winning cross-country team 2 seasons ago. Ran 13:21 at Boston, 7:48 in the 3,000. Right now he's leading his teammate Isaac Hedigan. Of course, we saw Hedigan winning the 5,000 meters with about a lap or 2 to go. He faded hard down the stretch, but I want to give Hedigan a lot of credit. The way he raced that was really impressive to see, and you hope it'll pay dividends going forward.
Yeah, you mentioned the difference in the career that he and his sister Jane have had. She's come on as a fabulous freshman. It's taking him a bit of time to adjust, but we've certainly seen it for him now at his junior year as he's progressed, continues to get better.
Absolutely. 7:41 at Boston earlier this season, one of the top times in the NCAA. As he makes a move, looks like him and Thompson are splitting pacing duties. But Isaac Hedigan, like you said, the developmental story, what a success every single year, better and better and better for Coach Ed Eyestone.
I think that's a great lesson for some of these young athletes that are very good high school runners. They're expecting immediate success in the collegiate ranks. Sometimes it takes time, and you just have to realize that. Continue to stick with the process. Hedigan's done that. He's seen the results.
Yep, great point.
So Thompson, Hedigan, 1 and 2. Titus Kamaru of Texas Tech currently sitting in third. Hedigan now, as you said, those two exchanging lead role are the Cougars.
And they came through the opening 800 right at about 2:05 pace. So 4:10-mile pace, very fast. You see it strung out. Again, this is a field with 8 All-Americans, and they are strung out single file line like you might see at Boston. Lots of Iowa State athletes in the mix as well. Kitchen hanging back in 5th place for BYU. You wonder if Hedigan's setting the pace. We have not seen Creed Thompson race this weekend, so you wonder if maybe he is a competitor. But again, you see so often these coaches from BYU, Iowa State, having an athlete there to pace. It's all part of a game plan. They want a fast race to try to maximize their points.
Tavon Kitchen coming into the picture as well for the Cougars. They have 3 of the top 5 right now. Titus Kamaru of Texas Tech and Ravi Kamoy-Mera of Iowa State breaking up that monopoly for BYU.
And Kamara from Texas Tech, also an All-American, just snuck in 40th place at NCAA Cross in the fall. He's run 13:42 in the 5K, 4:01 in the mile, and 7:53 in this event.
And here comes Tavon Kitchen on the outside, the fabulous freshman for the Cougars, as they now have the top 3. Kitchen overtaking Hedigan. Kamaru, they're jostling with Thompson.
And I'm starting to think that we do not have a pacer in this field. Hedigan's still in there. Again, Hedigan's running so well, I'd be a little bit surprised if he was the pacer. 7:41 out of Boston. Creed Thompson also had a really nice race, 7:48. So BYU 1-2-3. Trying to score big points.
Kitchen, Hedigan, Thompson, Titus Kamaru, Texas Tech sitting in fourth, and then a trio of Cyclones.
Yeah, those Iowa State guys, Robin Quamoy-Berra, Rogers Kiplino, and Joash Rudo, part of a really strong distance program in Ames, Iowa. Should also point out Mishak Kumutai, the freshman, also in the back of that lead pack as well. They came through that opening 1600 in 4:11. Very quick, very honest, and they're strung out single file.
Again, 8:06, the time to beat. That was set by Evans Tanui, the freshman from Arizona, in the first section.
Brian Mousau has the meet record, set it last year, 7:45. Not outside the realm of possibility when you consider in the closing kicks.
Kamaru making a move. Now the Red Raiders sitting in second. Now in first, Titus Kamaru. Pass. Tavon Kitchen.
All these guys in the top 4 or 5 look really good. It's just a battle out there. Hedigan, Thompson, the BYU guys, the Iowa State guys, and Kamaru now setting the pace for Texas Tech. We talk about distance programs, and a lot of times we say BYU, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, but Texas Tech usually has 1 or 2 elite distance runners, and that can really help them out in the track Big 12 championships.
Creed Thompson of BYU overtaking Kamaru, now back in the lead. But with just the 4x4 remaining, Kamaru can win this, or at least finish very high. That would be a huge boost for Texas Tech.
And Thompson moving out into first, Kitchen in third. Kamaru right in between them. Thompson looks really good as they come into the final 400 meters to go.
Thompson, Kamaru, Kitchen.
Kitchen making a big move now into second place. Kamaru in third.
2 laps remaining.
Rogers Kiplimo, the Iowa State athlete, in the hat, also looking really good, moving past Kamaru into third place, but it's BYU 1-2.
Kiplino of Iowa State now moving into third. Titus Kamaru trying to keep up with him. Creed Thompson continues to set the pace. His teammate Tavon Kitchen right behind him.
And Kiplimo's trying to close the gap as they head into the bell lap.
200 remaining. Final lap here.
Quamoy-Berra also moving up, but it's Thompson in first as they come down the backstretch.
Thompson, Kitchen, Kiplimo. But the pair of Cougars coming into the final turn, do they have enough? Can they hold on and secure the top 2 spots?
Let's see Kitchen coming out wide. Look at Kitchen.
Tavon Kitchen trying to get across. We will see Thompson and Kitchen a photo finish, but it's going to be Creed Thompson besting his freshman teammate. 7:52.90 and 7:52.91.
Wow. What a race between those 2 BYU athletes, and Creed Thompson gets his first ever individual Big 12 title as a senior.
So Thompson finishing first, his teammate Kitchen in second. And a pair of Cyclones in third and fourth, respectively. Kamaru in fifth for Texas Tech. Yeah, did not know what to expect from Creed Thompson. Had not seen him here this weekend. He clearly had a full tank, and he shows it off here. Congratulations, your men's 3,000 meter champion, and in the process, setting a new facility record. But it came down to the wire between he and Tavon Kitchen.
Yeah, we see Kitchen, the super freshman, on the outside, going against his teammate, the senior Creed Thompson. We saw a little bit of a celebration by the BYU.
Off we go. Section 1 of 2 in the women's 3,000 meter.
And in the early stages of the 3,000 meters, especially with so many athletes here in the field, you really want to avoid getting tripped up. We already see the pack starting to string out a little bit. A big pack is just recipe for people to fall over.
As the two start to come together, Gentry Turner, sophomore from Oklahoma State, with the early lead. Maddie Server, her teammate behind her. And then a quartet of Utes. You see all the red singlets there.
And I think in years past, sometimes what you'll see in the first section of the 3,000 meters is an athlete who has not run a 3,000 so far in the year is stuck in the first section, so they don't get the opportunity to race in the second heat. And you'll see them try to go out really hard and try to score points, maybe even win the entire event out of the first section. But I think when you look at the athletes slated to compete in the second section, that's going to be difficult to impossible.
And Gentry Turner from Oklahoma State leading the way. Praise Chip Kamoy, the freshman from Arizona. There alongside Josie Fail of Utah. Also Mackenzie Rogers, her teammate, in the top 4. Reagan Diamond of BYU there in the front as well.
.111 through that opening 400. We'll see what they come through 800 in. It's a long, strung-out pack at the moment. Single and double file as they come up with 800 meters complete.
Still Turner, now Fail of Utah moving into second. Her rival Diamond from BYU in third. Mackenzie Rogers. There's Ruth Camelli of Baylor getting into the mix there in the yellow for the Bears.
And they're on right about 5-minute mile pace through the opening 800. We saw Turner checking her watch. Every lap, Turner's hitting her watch, double checking the pace.
Turner not trusting the clock down on the track. She wants to do her own timing. Hey, she's leading. Can't argue with the results. If it works, it works.
And she continues to click off 38-39 second 200, slowing down a little bit from the first couple laps, but still keeping a pace that has this field strung out.
Still Gentry Turner leading, and then the trio from the Beehive State. In Utah is Josie Fail, BYU's Reagan Diamond, and Millie Wilcox of Utah now moving up into third.
Utah, another school that has produced some really nice distance runners. We talked about expansion. And Utah, it's not just BYU, but Utah as well.
Right, you are bringing those rivals from the Beehive State into the Big 12, and it's a huge advantage in not just track and field, but so many sports. These new additions and bringing new regions, new fans, new schools, and new life, dare I say it, into the Big 12 Conference.
Yeah, and I think it helps too having those built-in rivalries too. Both BYU and Utah joining.
Yeah, that may be the fiercest of them all. We talked about Arizona State. That is obviously a great rivalry. But there's just something about BYU and Utah. If you've ever experienced it, it's hard to duplicate.
And right now we've got a BYU athlete surrounded by Utah athletes out front.
Reagan Diamond with Fail and Wilcox right there. Still Gentry, though, now having dropped back, and the Utah athletes taking the lead as Ruth Camelli of Baylor moving into third.
And that was a little bit strange. We saw the Oklahoma State athlete step onto the inside before joining back in the field. I don't know if I've seen that before.
Yeah, Gentry Turner onto the infield and came back onto the track. Here's a very quick look at what we're talking about in case you missed it.
So you see Turner there getting a little bit tripped up. It looks like he got tripped up, but was in no hurry to get back on the track. She was looking for an opportunity to get back on.
A stumble, and unfortunately had to use Turner to stay upright. But now a trio of Utes leading the way. Bale, Wilcox, and Peters. There's Camellia Baylor in fourth. Diamond of BYU having dropped back. Turner trying to get back to the head of the pack.
And that's Reagan Diamond, the BYU athlete, sitting there right behind the Utah runners. Reagan, more of a steeplechase athlete, but she's very familiar with this 3,000 meter distance.
Utah looking strong. It certainly helps when you have a trio from one team there leading the way, providing some protection for the leader.
It's still Utah 1, 2, 3, followed by BYU. Baylor is out there. Hip number 4. That's Ruth Camelli, the sophomore.
Wilcox leading the way. Behind her, John Ginger, the freshman from Utah. But Utah with right now 4 of the top 6 runners.
And I think we may have a little bit of a timing mishap on our website. I believe that's Emily Ugina, the freshman, wearing bib number 9.
Ugina there along with Josie Fail. Fail now currently in the lead, and also Millie Wilcox, the senior from Utah, currently sitting in third. Camelli from Baylor dropping back behind Diamond of BYU. But still Fail, Ugina and Wilcox.
And that looks like Anastasia Chep-Career from West Virginia, sitting in 5th place.
Reagan Diamond now moving into 3rd.
So our lead pack, 5 athletes, 3 from Utah, BYU, and then Chep-Career from West Virginia, bringing up the rear of the lead pack.
The Wasatch well represented here. First section in the women's 3,000. Fail still leading. Now looking to make a move. Here comes Diamond for BYU.
As we hit the bell lap, Diamond moved into 1st place. The Utah athletes trying to respond.
Reagan Diamond passing her rivals. Utes trying to stay with her. Right, Diamond starting to pull away. Diamond passing other competitors, looking for a bit of breathing room.
Look at West Virginia coming up, but it looks like BYU's going to hold on.
Reagan Diamond is going to take the first section in the women's 3,000, 9:26.06 for the junior from BYU. Anastasia Chep-Career of West Virginia finishing 2nd, and Emily Uniga of Utah finishing 3rd. We'll see if Diamond's 9:26.06 will hold.
And considering I count 10 All-Americans in the second section, I don't think it will.
But at the very least, Diamond hoping that maybe a top 8 finish, earning some points. We will see for BYU for the women. And here's how Section 1 is wrapped up. Diamond taking it. Chip Career of West Virginia, Uniga of Utah finishing 3rd.
And a lot of times in the first section, you see a lot of younger athletes competing. It's Americans in this field, meaning you could argue it's easier to be All-American than it is to be all Big 12 in this conference.
That is saying something. Yeah, think about that for a second. The depth here in the women's 3,000 in the Big 12, simply astounding.
Multiple top 10 NCAA cross-country finishers. BYU, one of the best programs year in and year out. And you see it early on in this race, lots of blue up front.
And that is the case as they come together. That lone speck of red. They're bringing her from Utah, currently in 2nd. Jenna Hutchins leading the way, no surprise.
If you're Texas Tech, you're certainly rooting for someone like Bila Jepkiri from Oklahoma State to break up that BYU pack. Mercyline Kirwa from Iowa State to break it up. Because BYU has so many opportunities for points in this event.
Hedigan out, setting the pace. Chalangat of Oklahoma State now overtaking 2nd place.
And that's the freshman Chalangat, 7th place at NCAA cross country this fall. Part of a rebuilding group for Dave Smith.
Right now tucking in, and you see some of those Cyclones as well moving up. As a few of the Cougars have dropped back into the pack, but still Hedigan leading.
They came through the first 471 seconds. So just under 9-minute pace. An honest pace, but not a blistering pace.
Hedigan, Chalangat, Beringer, Kirwa, and Kipkor. The top 5 right now.
And I should say for someone like Hedigan, when she's run 14:44, 9-minute pace is actually slower than that 5K pace. So you have to think Jane very comfortable right now. She's leading the field. We see that a lot with her. She loves setting the pace early on.
Yeah, we've seen that in almost all the races she's entered. She wants to set it. She wants to come out early and force everyone to keep up with her. And so far it's worked.
But right now we only have a 2nd BYU athlete in that lead pack. Jenna Hutchins in 7th place, bringing up the back of that rear pack. Lead pack, I should say. The remaining BYU athletes falling a little bit further back.
Farmer, Ohotansky, and Chamberlain all falling back as you get a look at them there.
Jane Hedigan, another 35-second lap. Right on that 72nd point pace.
Hedigan, Chalangat, Kirwa, and Kipkor, the top 4. You see the pair of Cyclones running together as the top 4 separating themselves from the rest of the field.
And we should point out Bila Jepkiri and Joy Nowcott both were DNSs, did not start this race. And that is Chalangat in 2nd. And her teammate Marine Jeritich is also up there in about 7th place.
Seemingly 3 separate packs now having formed. Hedigan, Chilengat, Kirwa, and Kipkor in the first. So Hedigan leading as she has from the opening gun, looking smooth.
4:44 for that opening 1600. So a pretty good pace for Jane. We start to see her opening up a little bit of a gap between her and Chilengat. I should say that 4:43 pace, blistering for anyone but Jane Hedigan.
That's an important caveat.
I need to catch myself because the way you see Jane run, she makes the impossible look easy.
She really does, and that's the one thing that we've seen from her in every race she's entered. She is so smooth. You and I were talking about this off air. It is almost if you could draw up a runner in their form, that is what you would want them to look like.
Absolutely. It's a powerful stride. And you see that she doesn't have any fear. We saw that in cross country. She gets after it every single time she toes the line. She's there to see what she can do.
Smooth upper body, long, powerful strides. Uses her full height and extension. Hedigan now separating herself from Chilengat and Kipkor. And Kirwa having dropped back a bit, but Chilengat and Kipkor in second and third respectively doing the best they can to keep up with Hedigan. That is a difficult task.
And with 800 to go, it's all Jane Hedigan. She's opened up a nice lead over second and third place. You see Jenna Hutchins and Riley Chamberlain fighting to stay in main scoring position. And we're starting to see Hutchins and Chamberlain moving up.
This is big for BYU and the team score. Cougars need podium finishers. They need points. Hedigan trying to hold on to take it. But as you said, Hutchins and Chamberlain moving up in the field. We'll see if they can better their finishing position.
It feels a little bit like cross country right now. Some of the most impactful performances come in that 4th, 5th, 6th place scores. That's where the meet gets decided. And right now we're seeing Chamberlain moving up into 5th place.
Farmer also trying to get up there as well to score some points for BYU.
Right now it's still Jane Hedigan way out in front. Betty Kipkor from Iowa State and Chilengat in 3rd place as well, but Chamberlain keeps moving up.
Chamberlain looking to move into 4th in a battle. Riley Chamberlain against her rival from Utah, Aaron Vrenger. But as I mentioned, Hutchins and Farmer trying to get up there as well.
Farmer moving past the Iowa State athlete. Now here comes Jenna Hutchins.
Hedigan coming into the bell lap. 200 meters remaining, and Hedigan somehow is able to downshift and speed up.
And we see Hedigan well out in front of Big 12 championship record. She's all alone in the fights now for 2nd place. Chamberlain's moved up to 2nd. Chilengat and Kipkor also fighting right behind her, but it's Jane Hedigan as she comes into the home stretch for her first individual Big 12 track and field title.
The freshman from BYU is going to take it. 8:46.11 Hedigan, and now the battle to see who is going to score points for BYU. Chilengat finishing 2nd, Chamberlain in 3rd for the Cougars, Kipkor in 4th, Ringer in 5th, Farmer finishing 6th for BYU, and Hutchins in 7th. So the Cougars with 3 of the top 7. It's Jane Hedigan who takes it with a new meet record of 8:46.11. 4 in the top 7 for BYU. Hedigan, Chamberlain, Farmer, and Hutchins all doing their part for the team title. So those women are just going to have to sit back and wait to see if it is enough to unseat Texas Tech. But what a performance to meet a record from Hedigan. And we've said it before, but it bears repeating, John. She's a freshman.
We've got a lot of great racing to watch in front of her. I think the only downside is we might be in store for a lot of uncompetitive races. Of course, Bila did give her a great race in the mile, but certainly we saw NCAA cross country, Big 12 cross country at the longer distances.
It was the heptathlon wrapping things up. Ultimately, Taylor Klein, the senior from Kansas, would take it a personal best. Yannick Knobloch of TCU finishing second. But a great second day of action in the multi-event. Grant Levesque there of Houston winning the pole vault, 4.95 meters. Then the final event, the 1,000-meter run. And BYU able to take it, but ultimately it would be Klein, as we said. And there he is for the Jayhawks. He's dealt with injury. He battled back today to take the title atop the podium for the men from Lawrence. BYU, UCF, and Texas Tech. The time to beat set in the previous section by Iowa State, 3:31.57 by the Cyclones.
And it all comes down to this. BYU, Texas Tech, 1-2 in the women's race. Texas Tech has that 6.5-point lead coming into this event.
And not to put too fine a point on it, but this is the title.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the war cry of the Red Raiders here at home, their beautiful Sports Performance Center. And they are ready to cheer on their Red Raiders. Off we go, fourth and final section. Women's 4x4. Team title on the line. Will it be BYU? Or will the Red Raiders defend their title here at home?
Mackenzie Kelly for Texas Tech leading off.
Rasmussen for BYU.
Nice opening 200 by Mackenzie for Texas Tech in first place.
Pulliam of UCF currently in second. Kelly for the Red Raiders. Rasmussen trying to get by Pulliam.
Yeah, Rasmussen's trying to move up, trying to close that gap.
Does just that. Rasmussen now in second. Kelly trying to hold on. Red Raiders looking for the first exchange. And they'll get it in the hands of Anita Afrifa for the Red Raiders.
Clean first exchange, Texas Tech, as they go on to their second leg. BYU giving chase in second place.
Marianne Barber for the Cougars, but right behind her, Delaney Brinker, one of the stars for the Wildcats of Kansas State. Afrifa running smoothly. Barber trying to make up some distance.
Barber slowly closing down the distance.
She is indeed. Afrifa trying to hold on. Barber has her in her sights as we get ready for the second exchange. Third leg coming up. Going to be McEwen for BYU.
Look at Barber making a move.
Barber and BYU with the exchange first. And here come the Red Raiders and the Cougars neck in neck. McEwen for BYU and Iwusi for Tech.
And look at Kansas State in third place as well. BYU making a move. Strong opening 200 by McEwen.
Anastasia Krutova for Kansas State, but McEwen doing her job. A lot of BYU chants here among the Tech faithful in Lubbock.
And I see Coach Kitley on the backstretch giving encouragement to Texas Tech.
Owusu makes the move at the turn. Here comes Owusu passing. And now Kansas State also passing. Here comes the anchor leg. Texas Tech in the hands of Balde. Vanessa Balde for the Red Raiders. Kansas State currently in second with Mercyline.
And Tech's in control. There's a lot of noise right now. Vanessa Mercyline from Kansas State trying to close in.
Vanessa Balde of Tech leading the way. Vanessa Mercyline from Kansas State. BYU. Sammy Oblad trying to catch up.
One more lap for Texas Tech.
Can Balde hold on? Can she keep the title here in Lubbock?
Sammy Oblad for BYU also moving up and down the backstretch.
2026 Big 12 women's team title on the line. Mercyline making a move. Here comes Oblad as well. Balde maybe faltering a bit.
Look at Mercyline.
Mercyline making a move. Balde trying to hold on. Mercyline.
Look at the finish.
Right at the line.
Whoa.
Too close to tell. We will have to wait. And it's going to be BYU 3:31:40. Sammy Oblad with a phenomenal anchor leg for the Cougars. They take it.
What a close.
Full credit to the Cougars, but especially to their anchor leg, Sammy Oblad. What a job. She was behind. She made it up. And she will give her Cougars first place in the women's 4x4. Texas Tech finishing 0.04 of a second behind at 3:31:44. Here it is. Take another look. Balde, Mercyline, and Oblad.
Look at Oblad on the inside in third place. With 50 meters to go, she comes down right on the inside. And in the final meters, probably the final meter, she gets the victory for BYU.
This is the only event remaining. Texas Tech and Kansas State. It comes down to this. Red Raiders looking for a four-peat. Kansas State looking to dethrone the champions on their home track here in Lubbock.
All Texas Tech needs to do is score a single point, so top 8 finish to guarantee another Big 12 team title. But of course, if you're Texas Tech, you're Coach Kitley, you don't want to win by getting an 8th place or a 6th place or 4th place. You want to win the 4x4 to get this crowd on their feet. And Tech in lane 5 comes in with a 3:03 earlier this season. They were second at NCAAs last year. Arizona State third at NCAAs. And Baylor 7th at NCAA, so a lot of really strong 4x4 teams from last year.
Final race underway. Baylor, Kansas State, Texas Tech, and Arizona State. Uter for the Red Raiders. Next to him, Davis for the Sun Devils.
We saw Davis in the Open 400 take that Big 12 title. He's now running in second right behind Uter of Texas Tech.
Here comes Davis trying to pass Shamar Uter. Davis on the shoulder. Uter holding him off for the time being as we come into the first exchange. Arizona State, Texas Tech neck and neck. Cameron Neal for Tech. Mateo Medina for Arizona State. Heath Grant for Kansas State. Malik Franklin for Baylor.
And a little bit of contact there as they exited that turn. Pushed Arizona State out into lane 2, but everyone stays on their feet.
Neal and Medina, 1 and 2 for the Red Raiders and the Sun Devils respectively.
And look at Medina now. He's making a second attempt to go by. And he's into first place down the backstretch.
Mateo Medina passing Cameron Neal. And he trips Neal down too.
And Texas Tech needs to get back in the race.
Texas Tech has to get back into this. Right now, Baylor and Kansas State here in the second leg. And you see the pain on the face of Cameron Neal, obviously in discomfort. Third leg. Here comes Texas Tech in the hands of George Garcia, the star senior from El Paso.
And now Kansas State is in first. Texas Tech, again, all they need to do is score a single point, and they will get a Big 12 team title.
Kansas State leading. Nkosi for the Wildcats. Ali for the Bears. Garcia for the Red Raiders. If there wasn't enough drama already. Final leg. Here's the exchange. Kansas State and Baylor at 1 and 2. Underwood for the Wildcats. Honeyman for the Bears. Tiniga for the Red Raiders. The star freshman for Tech trying to make up some time.
Kansas State still out in front. Tavon Underwood trying to get that 4x4 title to Kansas State.
Tyler Honeyman from Baylor right with him. Tiniga from Tech trying to make up. And here comes Brian Tiniga from the Red Raiders. Don't count him out yet. But Tavon Underwood not faltering for Kansas State. And the folks in purple for Manhattan, a lot to cheer about here. Underwood will take it. Now we take a look at the time. 3:05:59, bettering Houston's 3:05:70. Kansas State wins the men's 4x400 meter relay.
What a performance by Kansas State, getting that men's 4x4 team title.